Hey, what up, Laker fans? Doug McCain here. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DMAC_LA. For all latest Lakers news and rumors, be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and if you want to see us post even more Lakers content, smash that like button. And as always, I want your takes down below in the comment section. Today's Lakers 24-8 question of the day. 1. Will LeBron James fix the Lakers' problems? And 2. Is he still a top 5 player in the NBA? Let me know down below. And for all latest Lakers news, head over to alllakers.com. So here's the latest on LeBron James. So yesterday, after the Lakers lost to the Bucks, Frank Vogel said that LeBron was day-to-day, but he was always optimistic that James would return sooner rather than later. Then James, he told reporters, "I don't know and we'll see," when asked after the Bucks game if he would play against the Celtics. Well, he's now officially listed as questionable for tomorrow's game in Boston. Mike Trudell tweeted out, "LeBron James' rectus abdominis strain is officially questionable for Friday's game at Boston, while Anthony Davis is probable right thigh contusion." So this is nothing short of great news for the Los Angeles Lakers, especially when you heard those rumors a few weeks ago that this injury could hold him out for potentially months. Well, he has missed 8 games, and in those 8 games, the Lakers, they put up a 3-5 record, and they sorely missed LeBron James. Before he went down, he was leading the team in scoring at 24.8 points per game, and he was second in rebounds with 7. And more importantly, you have to build that chemistry with the new big 3 in Russell Westbrook, Anthony Davis, and LeBron James. Because LeBron James, he sanctioned this move for Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook would not be wearing purple and gold if it weren't for LeBron James, because that is what happens when you sign up for the LeBron James experience. LeBron becomes Le GM, and yes, Rob Pelinka, Jeannie Buss, Kurt Rambis, there's other members of the Lakers brass that are involved in these decisions, but at the end of the day, probably save for his time with the Miami Heat and the Heatles, where Mickey Arison and Pat Riley were really calling the shots. LeBron James is heavily influential in every single move that his teams make. Now, the other good thing about LeBron James, though, is he's Mr. Fix-It. He's like the wolf in Pulp Fiction.
I'm Winston Wolf. I solve problems.
Good, we got one.
So I heard. May I come in?
He knows how to fix things, and I think LeBron James can fix things with this Lakers team at the moment. Yes, they're struggling. Yes, they're currently at 500, at 8-8, but we haven't even played 20% of the season yet. And right now, the Lakers, they're just 5 games back from the Warriors for the top spot. They're 4 games back from the 2nd seed. They're 2 games back from being tied for the 3 seed. So there's plenty of time for this team to get healthy, this team to gel, this team to build that requisite chemistry that it's going to take to win the 18th championship in franchise history. So there's no need to press the panic button just yet. Let's let LeBron come in and do what he does and try to make things right and get this team rolling. Because yes, when we saw the schedule in the summertime, we thought this team was going to get off to a great start. And so far, this team has had the 5th easiest schedule in the NBA, but they're sitting at 500. But we also didn't know that the injuries would be this bad. And look, the reality is, in the offseason, the Lakers were hell-bent on adding another star, and they knew that if they did that, they would have to give up some of their middle rotation depth. Now, for them to have success, they need the big 3 to be big contributors, and you can't do that if they're not all healthy. And another thing to feel good about is how Russell Westbrook has looked in his last couple games. You're seeing a more efficient Russell Westbrook. He's cutting down on the turnovers. Yesterday, Frank Vogel said that he thought that he had his best game as a Laker.
You know, I do think we're really benefiting from the offensive space. We got a ton of great looks at the three-point line. I think Russell Westbrook had his best game as a Laker tonight with 15 assists and 3 turnovers. 15 and 3 turnovers. And, you know, clearly he's benefiting from that space, and AD is as well. They're just double-teaming him, and he's been making the right play. So
it was a solid night for Russell Westbrook. Just looking at his line, he scored 19 points. He had 15 dimes, 4 rebounds, and the most important thing for a lot of Laker fans is just 3 turnovers, and all of those 3 turnovers occurred in the first half. Now, the only issue I have is only 5 points in the second half, and we saw the same thing against the Bulls in the game prior. Did a lot of his damage from a scoring standpoint earlier in the game. We need a little more scoring from Russ later in the game. But I actually do disagree with Frank Vogel about it being Westbrook's best game of the season. I think his best game of the season came against the Spurs, the overtime win in San Antonio, where Russ put up 33 points on 15 of 27 shooting and added 10 rebounds and 8 assists and had only 3 turnovers. I think that was his best game of the season, but still a really nice effort by Russell Westbrook. So you're seeing Westbrook really start to acclimate with his teammates. He is getting better, but don't kid yourself. You know there's some pressure from the organization towards LeBron James to find a way to make this work, and I think he will. Now, the other big question for tomorrow is, will Talen Horton-Tucker be in the starting lineup? Because THT has really impressed since returning from thumb surgery. In 3 games, he's averaging 23.3 points per game, 7.3 rebounds, and 2 assists. He's also shooting 49% from the field and 40% from beyond the arc. Now, there's no question whether or not THT is starter's material. That is not even a debate, but if you have him coming off the bench, it is going to give him more opportunities to be a playmaker, to be that primary ball handler and get to the rim and go to work with the rock in his hands. Because you know that LeBron James and Russell Westbrook, they are ball-dominant players. So with THT, Westbrook, and LeBron out there, you got to share the sugar. So we'll see how they play it. I think at this point, the Lakers, they need to stack dubs, and he's clearly their 4th best player. And yes, it would give the bench some quality depth, especially if guys aren't getting it done like we've seen in the last few games. But I think you go out and you put your best lineup on the floor, knowing you got to get some wins, get out to a nice early lead. And I think that THT, he just really has it right now. We don't know how LeBron's going to look in his first game back. So in my opinion, you start Talen Horton-Tucker. It's a no-brainer for me, yes. And you could still stagger the rotations later in the game, in the 2nd and 3rd shift. So there are some options there. But in my opinion, THT gets the start. But let me know down below in the comment section, will LeBron James fix the Lakers' problems? And also, do you still think he's the top 5 player at age 36, soon to be 37? Me, I still think he is. He's right in the mix. I think that Giannis is still number 1. I think you got Jokic, and then I think you got KD, LeBron, and Steph Curry somewhere in that range. And I think LeBron James still, if he wants to empty the tank and go all out, he can still be a top 5 player on certain nights, and he still has that in him. But let me know down below. My name is Doug McCain. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DMac_LA. For all things Laker basketball, be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and if you want to see us post even more Lakers content, smash that like button. And as always, go Lakers.